In the Gospel of Matthew, nestled amidst the rolling hills of Galilee, we encounter Jesus delivering a sermon for the ages, the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5, 1, 2. This discourse, found in Matthew chapters 5 through 7, stands as a cornerstone of Christian teaching, Matthew 5, 3, 7-29, offering profound insights into the nature of God's kingdom and the life of discipleship. Matthew 5, 3, 12. Jesus, the ultimate rabbi, gathers his disciples and the crowds, Matthew 5:1, his words echoing with authority and grace, painting a vivid picture of kingdom living, Matthew 7:28-29. The Sermon on the Mount is more than just a moral code, Matthew 5:17-20. It's a radical reorientation of life, a call to embrace a different way of being in the world, Matthew 5:13-16. And at the heart of this transformative message lie the Beatitudes, Matthew 5:3-12. These opening verses of the Sermon on the Mount, known as the Beatitudes, Matthew 5:3-12, are revolutionary declarations that turn conventional wisdom on its head, Matthew 5:3-12. The word blessed in the Beatitudes translates from the Greek word makarios, which carries a deeper meaning than simply happy. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:3. It speaks of a state of spiritual well-being, a deep-seated joy and contentment that transcends circumstances. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Matthew 5:4. These blessings, however, are not automatic entitlements. They are linked to specific attitudes and actions. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Matthew 5:5. The Beatitudes are not passive pronouncements. They are active invitations, calls to embody specific virtues that reflect the very character of God. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Matthew 5:6. They challenge us to examine our hearts, our motivations, and our ways of engaging with the world around us. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Matthew 5:7. Though spoken centuries ago, they speak with a freshness and urgency to the complexities of our modern world. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Matthew 5:8. They address the deep longings of the human heart, offering timeless wisdom for navigating the challenges and opportunities of life in the 21st century. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5:9. The Beatitudes are intricately interwoven, forming a tapestry of transformation. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:3, that leads us deeper into the heart of kingdom living. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Matthew 5:4. They are not isolated principles, but interconnected threads that, when embraced together, weave a beautiful and compelling picture of what it means to be a follower of Jesus. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Matthew 5:5. As we delve into each Beatitude, we'll uncover its profound meaning, exploring its relevance for our lives today. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Matthew 5:6. Join me as we embark on this journey of exploring the Beatitudes, uncovering their transformative power to shape our lives and make us beacons of hope, grace, and love. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Matthew 5:7. Our journey through the Beatitudes begins with a profound paradox. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:3. Matthew chapter 5, verse 3. In a world that often equates worth with wealth and status, Jesus' words strike a countercultural chord, Luke 6:20. He's not glorifying material poverty, but highlighting a spiritual disposition. James 2:5. To be poor in spirit is to recognize our utter dependence on God, Psalm 34:18. It's acknowledging our limitations, our need for grace, and our inability to earn our way into God's favor. Ephesians 2:8-9. It's a posture of humility, a recognition that apart from God, we are nothing. John 15:5. This beatitude invites us to let go of pride, self-sufficiency, and the need to prove ourselves. Proverbs 16:19. In a culture obsessed with self-promotion, the poor in spirit stand out, their lives marked by quiet confidence and a deep sense of gratitude. Philippians 2:3. It's in embracing our spiritual poverty that we find true riches and inherit the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:3. The second beatitude takes us deeper into the landscape of the human experience. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Matthew 5:4. In a world that often avoids or denies pain, Jesus acknowledges the reality of suffering and offers a message of profound comfort. John 16:22. This beatitude doesn't commend mourning for its own sake, but speaks to a heart that is sensitive to the brokenness of the world. Psalm 34:18. It's a mourning that encompasses personal grief, the pain of others, and the injustices that plague humanity. Romans 12:15. Yet within this acknowledgement of pain lies a promise of comfort. Isaiah 61:2. This comfort is not a mere platitude or a quick fix, but a deep, abiding peace that comes from knowing God is present with us in our suffering. 2 Corinthians 1:3-4. It's the comfort of knowing that we are not alone in our grief, but held by the one who weeps with us. John 11:35. This beatitude reminds us that God is near to the brokenhearted. Psalm 147:3. It's through our tears that we are drawn closer to the heart of God, who heals our wounds and offers us true solace. Revelation 21:4. The third beatitude often raises eyebrows. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Matthew 5:5. In a world that often equates meekness with weakness, this statement feels counterintuitive. However, true meekness, as Jesus embodied it, is not about timidity or passivity. Matthew 11:29. Meekness in the biblical sense is strength under control. Proverbs 16:32. It's a gentle spirit, a humble heart that submits to God's authority and seeks His will above all else. James 4:10. It's about channeling our strength and passions, not for selfish ambition, but for serving others and upholding God's righteousness. Philippians 2:3. The promise attached to meekness is astounding. They shall inherit the earth. Psalm 37:11. This echoes Psalm 37:11, which speaks of the righteous enjoying the fruit of their labor and dwelling securely in the land. In a world consumed by power struggles and greed, this beatitude offers a radical alternative. Matthew 20:16. The meek, far from being walked over, are the ones who will ultimately inherit God's blessings. Isaiah 29:19. The fourth beatitude speaks of a deep longing. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Matthew 5:6. This hunger and thirst go beyond a basic desire for fairness. It's an intense craving for God's righteousness to prevail in every aspect of life. Isaiah 51:1. In the Bible, righteousness is not merely about personal piety. It encompasses justice, equity, and right relationships. Amos 5:24. To hunger and thirst for righteousness is to yearn for a world where God's love, justice, and peace reign supreme. Psalm 85:10. It's a longing for the healing of brokenness, the restoration of dignity, and the dismantling of oppressive systems. Isaiah 61:1. This beatitude calls us to be agents of God's righteousness, to actively work toward a world where everyone has access to justice, dignity, and opportunity. Micah 6:8. The promise for those who hunger and thirst after righteousness is that they shall be filled. Matthew 5:6. This doesn't necessarily mean that our efforts will instantly usher in a perfect world. Romans 8:25. Rather, it speaks of the deep satisfaction and fulfillment that come from aligning our lives with God's heart for justice. Proverbs 21:3. In the fifth Beatitude, Jesus unveils a profound truth about God's character. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Matthew 5:7. Matthew 5, verse 7. Mercy is not simply about being kind. It's about extending compassion, forgiveness, and grace to those who don't deserve it, just as God has done for us. Ephesians 4:32. The world often operates on a system of reciprocity. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Luke 6:32-36. But mercy disrupts this cycle. James 2:13. It's about breaking free from the chains of judgment and offering undeserved kindness even to those who have wronged us. Romans 12:20-21. To be merciful is to reflect the very heart of God, who pours out his love on us lavishly even when we fall short. Psalm 103:8. This beatitude reminds us that we are all recipients of God's boundless mercy. Lamentations 3:22-23. When we choose mercy, we become conduits of God's grace, fostering healing and reconciliation in a broken world. Colossians 3:12-13. The sixth beatitude goes beyond outward actions, delving into the core of our being. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Matthew 5, verse 8. Psalm 24, verse 4. He that hath clean hands and a pure heart, who hath not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. Purity of heart is not about achieving sinless perfection. It's about having a heart that is undivided in its devotion to God. James 4, verse 8. Draw nigh to God, and he will draw nigh to you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double-minded. It's about aligning our thoughts, motives, and desires with God's will. Psalm 51, verse 10. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. It's about seeking God with our whole heart, not just with our outward actions. Jeremiah 29, verse 13. And ye shall seek me and find me, when ye shall search for me with all your heart. The promise for the pure in heart is that they shall see God. 1 John 3, verse 2. Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be. But we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. This doesn't necessarily refer to a physical sighting in this life. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 12. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I am known. Rather, it speaks of a deep, intimate knowing of God, an unclouded vision of his glory and beauty. Psalm 27, verse 4. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. In a world saturated with distractions and competing voices, this beatitude calls us to cultivate inner stillness and clarity. Isaiah 30, verse 15. For thus saith the Lord God, the Holy One of Israel, in returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. It's in the quiet spaces of a pure heart that we encounter the divine and experience the fullness of his love. Psalm 46, verse 10. Be still, and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. The seventh beatitude speaks of a calling that is central to the Christian life. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5, verse 9. Matthew 5, verse 9. In a world rife with conflict and division, peacemakers are those who actively seek to reconcile broken relationships and build bridges of understanding. Romans 12, verse 18. Peacemaking is not about passive avoidance of conflict or simply keeping the peace at all costs. James 3, verse 18. It's about actively pursuing reconciliation, seeking justice, and standing up for what is right, even when it's difficult. Isaiah 1, verse 17. This beatitude reminds us that we are all created in the image of God, who is the ultimate peacemaker. Genesis 1, verse 27. Through Christ's sacrifice on the cross, God reconciled humanity to himself, breaking down the walls of hostility and division. Ephesians 2, verse 14. As his followers, we are called to be ambassadors of this reconciliation, reflecting his peace and love in our relationships and interactions. 2 Corinthians 5, verse 20. The peacemakers are promised a special blessing. They shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5, verse 9. The final beatitude addresses the reality of opposition that often comes with following Jesus. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:10. Matthew 5:10. This beatitude acknowledges that living a life of faith will not always be easy. In fact, it may lead to persecution. 2 Timothy 3:12. Persecution can take many forms, from verbal abuse and social ostracism to physical violence and imprisonment. John 15:18, 20. It can come from individuals, institutions, or even from within our own families and communities. Matthew 10:36. However, Jesus assures us that even in the midst of persecution, we are blessed when we stand firm in our faith. James 1:12. This beatitude is not a call to seek out persecution or to revel in suffering. 1 Peter 4:12-14. Rather, it's a reminder that following Jesus may come at a cost. Luke 14:27. The promise given to those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake is that theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:10. This is not just a future reward but a present reality. Romans 8:18. Even in the midst of suffering, we have access to the fullness of God's presence, His comfort, and His strength. 2 Corinthians 12:9-10. As we conclude our journey through the Beatitudes, we're struck by their enduring power to speak to the deepest longings of the human heart. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:3. These timeless teachings of Jesus offer a radical alternative to the world's definition of happiness and success. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Matthew 5:4. They challenge us to reorient our lives around God's priorities and seek His kingdom first. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Matthew 5:5. The Beatitudes are practical guidelines for living a life pleasing to God and transformative for the world. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Matthew 5:6. They call us to cultivate inner virtues and engage in actions promoting justice, peace, and reconciliation. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Matthew 5:7. In a world of greed and division, the Beatitudes offer hope, love, and unity. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Matthew 5:8. They remind us that true blessedness is found in humility, compassion, and a deep hunger for God's righteousness. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5:9. The Beatitudes stand as a testament to the transformative power of God's grace. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:10. Section 2, Embracing the Beatitudes Today. The Beatitudes are living words that transform our lives today. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:3. They invite us to examine our hearts and motivations. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Matthew 5:8. Are we living as citizens of God's kingdom? Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Matthew 5:5. Embracing the Beatitudes is a lifelong journey of transformation. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Matthew 5:6. It's about allowing God's Spirit to shape us into the image of Christ. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Matthew 5:7. We are called to be salt and light, reflecting God's love and justice. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5:9. God's Spirit empowers us to be peacemakers and extend mercy. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Matthew 5:7. Section 3. A call to kingdom living. Friends, the Beatitudes are a call to action, an invitation to participate in God's plan of redeeming and restoring creation. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:3. They are a blueprint for kingdom living, for building a world where justice, peace, and righteousness prevail. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Matthew 5:6. Reflect on the Beatitudes. Choose one or two and ask God to show you how to live them out. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Matthew 5:8. How can you be a peacemaker in your family, workplace, or community? Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Matthew 5:9. Remember, the kingdom of God is breaking into the here and now through those committed to following Jesus. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:10. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for more inspiring content. Let's journey together as we embody the Beatitudes and be agents of God's kingdom.